Morning, everybody. Welcome to Rising. Jamal in for Crystal Ball. Jamal, what's going on today?
You're back. It's so good to see you at the chair, Buck.
See you. Thank you so much.
This is good. You know what? It's Mueller time again.
We'll get into that and more coming up on Rising.
Russian intelligence officers who were part of the Russian military launched a concerted attack on our political system. The indictment alleges that they used sophisticated cyber techniques to hack into computers and networks used by the Clinton campaign. The releases were designed and timed to interfere with our election and to damage a presidential candidate.
Boy, that was a big day yesterday, and I think Mr. Buck might have something to say about it.
Indeed I do, Jamal. What was that all about? Let's start with that. That was Mueller's mic drop moment. I obviously think that it's quite a fail. There was, first of all, some very obvious self-contradiction. At one point he said, the report should speak for itself, as he was speaking about the report almost 2 months after it had been released. There was quite a lot to point to as a possibly petty partisanship in this whole affair. It seemed quite clear that this was Mueller's effort to create a roadmap for Congress for the impeachment of the president. Otherwise, what new information did we have yesterday? Oh yes, that's right. The new information is that apparently a few hundred years of American jurisprudence based on the presumption of innocence is thrown out the window when it comes to Donald Trump. So an impeachment roadmap from the special counsel for everybody who thought that it was biased and partisan all along. This just adds fuel to that fire. And then the big question is, will this backfire? In fact, will all of it backfire? Jamal, there's this lingering, not even lingering now, growing question over impeachment, and is impeachment good politics or bad politics? I offer to you that no one knows, which is why they won't do it, and that's all that is really holding this whole thing up at this point. Would impeachment rally the president's base, or would it rally the Democrat base enough that it would in fact be a useful thing for them? But the Mueller chat yesterday, there was nothing new.
Well, before we get there, here's what's new. What's new is a lot of people haven't read the report. And this is what Justin Amash has been saying for the last week, the Republican congressman from Grand Rapids, not a liberal or a moderate place, Grand Rapids. It's the heart of conservatism in Michigan. And I think the question on the table that Mueller was getting at is, I laid out everything you need to know, and you guys can choose to do with it what you will. And I think if you read the report, what you see is that it's not even close that the president tried to obstruct justice. It's not even like a hair's breadth close. It's by a mile he tried to obstruct justice.
Then they should have said that in the report.
He did say it in the report.
Didn't say it.
He absolutely said it in the report. And the point that he made yesterday, which is the same, is that it is not the Department of Justice's position to say the president is guilty of a crime, because we can't say that, which is also a shot at the Attorney General, that the Attorney General should not have said that. That is for Congress to determine, not for the Department of Justice.
There's no regulation that says that he couldn't have, or they couldn't have stated in the report. And by the way, at no point do they say the president obstructed justice. That's just not a thing that
They say there are 10 places where obstruction of justice seems to meet these criteria. And they lay out the criteria for obstruction and how the president met the criteria for obstruction. And then they say the OOC memo tells us we can't say that because he instructed McGahn to fire.
No, the OOC
he instructed Lewandowski to go fire Sessions.
Jamal, the OOC
he dangled pardons in front of Manafort, in front of other witnesses.
The OOC memo says you can't indict a sitting president. By the way, this is DOJ guidance. This isn't a constant. People are acting like this is. It's not even a law. This is what the DOJ says their current interpretation of the Constitution is, and there's nothing in there. There's nothing that prevents them from saying that the president broke this law. They could have said it and then not brought charges.
Actually, and that is what Mr. Mueller said yesterday. That in fact they could not say that because if they're not going to go into a courtroom, they can't then charge somebody or imply somebody had a criminal is guilty of a crime. But they are unable.
And yet a moment ago you told me look at the 10 places where he implied he's guilty of a crime.
What he said is, here are the 10 places cases where there are criminal statutes and the President of the United States has taken actions. You guys do with this what you will.
The whole thing is too cute by
It's
half.
animals.
It's obvious.
I got lions on this side and tigers on that side.
It's obvious.
Marry the two up.
Obvious what this is. It looks better.
Yeah, it's obvious. The president's guilty of obstruction and should probably face some consequences for it.
Well, let's see if the Democrats have the courage of their convictions, Jamal.
Let's see if they do.
Now it's Jamal's turn to tell us what's really going on in the world.
I got a little something to talk about on that front. All right. President Trump is acting like he wants Democrats to impeach him. And after Robert Mueller's statement yesterday, more Democrats are ready to oblige him. If Trump believes getting impeached would be a political winner, the facts of the 1998 Clinton impeachment aren't really so clear for him. First, Bill Clinton took responsibility for his mistakes before the Starr report ever came out. After that, he was held accountable by every Democrat in the country who repudiated Clinton's behavior and demanded that the country move on. Trump has already missed that window, and his fellow Republicans are not enablers. His fellow Republicans are enablers. They're not repudiators. Second, after Clinton repented, his marriage went chilly. The media turned on him, and staff quit the White House. The public was ready to offer the president grace after about 3 months of this, but Republicans kept kicking Clinton while he was down. And on Election Day, voters refused to join in on the stomping. Lastly, impeachment stains are hard to wash out. While Democrats defied history in the 1998 election, let's keep it real. They only won 5 seats in the House. 5. And also remember, neither Andrew Johnson, Richard Nixon, nor Bill Clinton stood for election again, but neither Horatio Seymour, Gerald Ford, nor Al Gore kept the White House in their party's hands in that next election. If Democrats believe Trump committed high crimes or misdemeanors, they should impeach him, even if the Senate doesn't convict. History is watching, and the president should pay some price for misbehavior, or he will become a king, listening to no one. Besides, it's not the Democrats' job to absolve Republicans from their constitutional responsibilities.
What constitutional responsibility are we talking about?
The responsibility of the House and the Senate, the Congress, to oversee the president's actions, and if the president violates his oath of office, to hold him accountable for such things.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, the House certainly might do it. The House certainly, if they think he's guilty, the House should do it. The question is, here's my other question for Republicans, Buck.
I'll speak for the Republicans.
Do you think most Republicans believe that everything Donald Trump did was on the up and up?
I think they believe that this entire thing is a ridiculous farce and a scam, and he was put through a 2-year-long investigation based on a conspiracy theory that has been entirely and thoroughly debunked, and then trying to use some contortions of legal theory in order to get him on a secondary issue of the obstruction when he never should have even been put in jeopardy in the first place on the collusion delusion means that they just will not care.
Do you think it's okay to dangle pardons in front of witnesses to get them to influence their testimony?
I think the President of the United States has a constitutional right to offer a pardon for any reason that he wants.
No, he doesn't. Not for a corrupt purpose. Could someone pay the president for a pardon?
How could you prove a corrupt purpose?
Could someone say, if you give me a pardon, I'll give you $1 million?
No, that would probably be a problem.
Yeah, it'd be a problem. Bill Clinton got in trouble for that, right?
Did Trump do that?
No, but what I'm saying your point was that it's okay for the president to do his duty under any circumstance. What I'm saying to you is, I think even if you argue that what he did is not impeachable, there are things the president did in the pursuit of his office of the presidency. There are things he's done to obstruct the investigation, which are wrong. And it would be better for the Republican Party and for conservatives if people would say, I think the president is wrong here, and I don't think impeachment is the right remedy, but here's some ways that we can hold the president accountable. Otherwise, the president of the United States thinks he can do whatever he wants to do, and every president that comes after him will think the same thing.
Republicans who support the president view this as a failed deep state coup to remove him because of the bitterness of the 2016 election, and they're not going to blame him for how he fought back against it.
But and lawyers will tell you that going after someone, even if you think your client is innocent, that it's not okay to obstruct justice just because you don't believe the crime is legit. Otherwise, everybody would obstruct justice all the time.
So of the 10 things that are laid out, which is the one that should be charged?
The President of the United States told the White House counsel to go fire the special counsel, and then when he refused and he said he would come back, he almost resigned his job. And then the President of the United States tried to get the White House counsel to come up with a fake document that was not true in order to cover the fact that he ordered him to fire the special counsel.
But was the investigation obstructed by that?
The investigation would have been would have been obstructed.
Nope. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's not obstruction.
It is attempted obstruction.
There's no such thing.
So maybe the obstruction was successful. It could be a fact that the obstruction was successful because we are unable to prove the case. It absolutely is a such thing.
No, you either
this happens all the time.
You either obstructed the investigation or you didn't. There's no I thought about obstructing.
No, he ordered people to obstruct.
Yeah.
The President of the United States ordered people. He ordered Corey Lewandowski to go fire Jeff Sessions because Jeff Sessions would not come out and unrecuse himself. He ordered the firing of Comey.
But these are all within his constitutional duties. This is the other problem.
You can't hide behind the Constitution if you are pursuing a corrupt purpose.
Who says it's a corrupt purpose? These guys can be fired.
Obstruction of justice is a corrupt purpose.
But you can't prove it. That's why he was trying to fire him.
This is why we got more to talk about this for the rest of the day. It's not ridiculous. It's law. I want some lawyers here. Can I get a lawyer? Can I get a lawyer?
We're gonna have a lawyer. He's gonna tell you, by the way, the whole we couldn't prove him innocent is the craziest thing that any lawyer has said in a long time. That's gonna happen. That'll be fun. Next on Rising. So Mueller, the man behind the report, has spoken.
We're going to continue unpacking Mueller's 9-minute and 41-second statement with former federal prosecutor Joseph Moreno right here, next on Rising.